To Chicago after an extended holiday break, the federal corruption trial of former Speaker Mike Madigan resumed today. Prosecutors cross-examined appellate court justice David Ellis, who was the former chief legal counselor for Madigan. Ellis is one of the witnesses called by the defense team as they tried to refute claims that Madigan ran a decades-long racketeering conspiracy using interstate facilities in aid of bribery, committing wire fraud, and attempted extortion. Now, with at least 2 or 3 days left of testimony, closing arguments could begin as early as next Monday.